A while later and Ben was lying in bed, the rest of his roommates asleep and snoring loudly. He needed to pee, badly, and he couldn't fall asleep with such a full bladder. He knew he ought to get up and use the toilet, but the thought of contending with his nappy again was too much. His alternative, of course, was to just let go in his nappy. But wearing it at night because he needed to was one thing, using it because he didn't want to get up was quite another. He rolled over and shut his eyes, trying to fall asleep, but his bladder felt as if it was about to burst. Ben knew if he did fall asleep it would only empty of its own accord anyway, and so he decided just to go now. He tried to start peeing, but even though he was desperate he didn't seem able to get the flow going. He lifted up his knees and tried again. This time he started peeing immediately, relief coming over his body. Ben felt the warm liquid before being absorbed by the nappy, and he was surprised by how good it felt. He had drunk a lot of alcohol, and he lay peeing for a long time before he was done. Ben was worried the nappy might have leaked, but when he felt around his crotch his boxers and sheets were completely dry, the thirsty ABRI form had soaked all of it up. Once his body was relieved of its need to pee it wasn't long before Ben fell asleep, this time with a smile on his face. The room was still engulfed in darkness when Ben woke up. He rolled over and felt the familiar dampness around his legs. He sat up in bed, and it wasn't until he stood up and felt the sodden nappy sag between his legs that he remembered he wasn't at home. He was at a youth hostel, in a room with 7 other boys from his school. And he'd wet the bed, so much so his nappy had leaked.